All right, shalom, 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 shalom. My name is YAH, and I'm with Savior Word of Yah, Tabernacles of the Congregation of Yisrael. Welcome to our weekly Bible study. The title of today's study today is The Controversy in Zion. The Controversy in Zion. So if anybody's been keeping up with the news, on October, what was it, like the 7th or something like that? October 6th, October 7th, Israel was invaded, supposedly invaded by Hamas. This has been an ongoing thing going on in the region with Palestine and the state of Israel. And there was some major things that went down. So, of course, the media is showing a certain view of it. Of course, whatever they show you, you want to look and say, well, what are they not showing? Why are they showing certain things? But all of this is biblical. All this stuff is going down right according to plan. And, this is something that is really not our fight at this time. It's about us, it's about our land, but it's really not our fight. This is something that, when it's time for us to return home and resume everything and become a nation, that's going to happen. So there's nobody that can stop that from happening. But either way, we're going to go over how we got there. We're going to first do a little bit of current event about how we got there, the state of Israel, what's the difference between the biblical Israel and the state of Israel. So we're going to do, before we get started and get into the scripts on this with the prophecy and how we got to where we got, we're going to do a little bit of history. All right. So first thing I want to do is I want to talk about, what is the state of Israel? What is this, the biblical Israel? Let's look and just get a brief little history. We're not going to go too in depth, but we're going to get a general understanding of the state of Israel so we can have a better view of what's going on right now in the land. So let's go ahead and pull something up. I'm going to go into Wikipedia. Wikipedia usually has a good breakdown of stuff. And we'll just get a general synopsis of the state of Israel. So let me pull that up. All right. So Israel, officially the state of Israel. So how is this a state if it's supposed to be a country, right? Well, no, it's a state, the state of Israel. All right. It's a country in West Asia. Is bordered by Lebanon to the north, Syria to the northeast, by Jordan to the east, by the Red Sea to the south, and by Egypt to the southwest, and by the Mediterranean Sea to the west. And of course, has the Palestinian territories of the West Bank, along with the Gaza Strip. So that is the state of Israel. So that's the so-called land that's a proportion there. And let's take a look and just look at a little bit of the history. All right, so let's take a look at some of the history. Let's go down here. Let's see. All right, let's see. Let's start up here. All right, so after World War I, the Allied powers assigned the mandate for Palestine to Britain, which during the war made a declaration of support for establishment of a national home for the Jewish people in Palestine. All right, so this is after World War I when this is going down. So Palestine, if you look at the history even of just the term Palestine, that's literally the Philistines. Came from the Greek or the Latin word Palestina or something like that for the Philistines. All right, so after World War I, they started to actually, I'm sorry, let me come up here. So after World War I, the Allied powers assigned the mandate to Britain, and then they declared of support for a national home for the Jewish people in Palestine. Following World War II and the Holocaust, the newly formed nations adopted the partition plan. So this is what they fighting over right now, the partition, when they decided to partition the children of Israel's land. I'm talking about the biblical children of Israel's land. So the United Nations adopted a partition plan for Palestine, recommending the creation of independent Arab and Jewish states, recommending, excuse me, the creation of independent Arab and Jewish states, and placing Jerusalem under international control. How does other nations outside of this land control this land? In the final months of the British mandate, a civil war broke out between the Palestinian Arabs and the YAH, beginning the first stage of the 1948 Palestine War. So 1948, on May 14th of 1948, this is when the state of Israel was created, and they declared independence. So this state has only been around since 1948. So many of us have parents that are older than this so-called land or state of Israel. So this is not like these people have been in that land since the time of the Bible. And what America will use, they like to use that, God blesses those who bless Israel. Well, that was in the Bible. And that's not talking about foreigners. That's talking about the children of Israel in the Bible, the biblical children of Israel. So because we don't know this history, because they're not going to teach this in school in America, because America is part of this system of setting this state up. So they're not teaching these things of how newly this state is, and how this is not the biblical Israel. And the people that are the controlling factor of this state of Israel are not biblical Israelites. All right. So this is where the state of Israel is. So now we can fast forward to what's going on now. So this is kind of the western side of Israel. You see what they call the Gaza Strip. This is where a lot of the Palestinians live. It's under Palestinian control, and then it's pushing a little bit further east, where this was controlled by the Israeli government, but now is being evacuated. So there's a lot of fighting going on in that region to take over more of that region. Now, keep in mind, when we get into this Bible study, we're going to see that the two major groups that are going at it in this region are not biblical Israelites. They do not own this land. This land does not belong to them. But the Palestinians, or the so-called Philistines or the Palestinians, those individuals have been in the land for a long, long time, way prior to 1948. So if anybody has, a claim to the land, at least the people that was there when the children of Israel got evacuated, when we got not evacuated, got dispersed and sent into slavery. Now, does that mean that it belongs to them? No, but at least they were there. The Israeli government, that with the state of Israel, that started in 1948. So this is recent. That's not too, that's not too far from before I was born. I mean, I wasn't born nowhere near that, but in a reasonable time. So this is new, and this causing all kind of disruption in the area, because now you have an area that had Asians and Africans that now have Europeans, and they're taking more of the land from the people that have been in the land for hundreds and hundreds of years. So you can see how that causes a conflict. Now, again, I want to just make it be known that this land belongs to the biblical children of Israel. So there's really no right side on each side. Either one, the land don't belong to them. But you can't have the law of occupied. If you're here, you occupying it, and nobody's there, hey, it is what it is. So that's Israel. That's what's going on there. And interesting, let's look at what happened. you had the invasion of Israel. So when Israel was invaded, you know, what the reports was that they came in multi-fronts. They came by paragliders that had motorized fans on them. They came some by sea. Some of them were you know, inside already, and they attacked. And there was some terrorist activity. So, you know, of course, the news, the media is going to show, hey, this is what's going on. They're going to show a bunch of Israelis getting killed and, oh, you know, Palestine, a bunch of wicked Muslims destroying everything. Now, that's not the complete story. They're not showing you everything. They're just telling you the same thing to pump up the United Nations and to pump up the control in the Middle East. They need United States, and United Nations needs a foothold in the Middle East. And that's why they have Israel. So when we look at this article here, U.S. President Joe Biden said that he's prepared to bolster military forces in the Middle East as the Israel-Palestine conflict continues to spiral out of control. What does the U.S. have to do with this? Nothing. We don't have nothing in this country to do with this. But guess what? We do, because we set this up. Because the same people who own the banking systems, that own the media, that set this up, also set up Israel, the state of Israel. So of course they got interest, but they can't say, so they got to use, oh, you know, again, God blesses those who bless Israel. So that's what they're doing. Once again, getting ready to pull us into a war that we should not be involved in. All right. And I'm talking about at least the United States should not be involved in. If anybody should be involved in, should be the people that land belongs to. All right. So the latest death toll stands at 830 Palestinians in Gaza and more than 900 people in Israel. So according to this count, more people were killed in Israel. So of course, you know, they're going to say, oh, you know, pray for Israel, this, that, and the other. Listen, pray for anybody that's getting murdered. You know, I hate to see any innocent people, you know, because unfortunately it's innocent people getting killed. It's not the soldiers really killing each other. They doing, you know, retaliation acts towards each other. But what we have to do is we have to look at the international numbers. We got to look at what's really going on in the region. What is the real score of the game? If I come in and I watch a game and I see this guy catch a touchdown for 99 yards and runs it back, and I'm like, you see, they're the best team in the world. They're beating them. Well, look at the scoreboard. If they down, if just like that Miami Dolphins game, if it's 70-20, listen, I don't care about this guy who scored a 99-yard touchdown. That ain't doing nothing. We got to look at the real numbers. So let's take a look at the real numbers. I'm going to pull up a graphic. This is from the United Nations. This is their official reported death toll of the Palestinian Israeli conflict that's been going on. So you see here from 2008 is when they're showing you this graphic. So in 2008, all right, 2008, 853 Israelis were killed. 3,202 Palestinians was killed. Who's winning that game? Exactly. You can see clearly the numbers aren't even close. Then now you have in 2009, 123 Israelis were killed, 7,460 Palestinians, 185 in 2010, 1,659. I mean, it's a huge, it's not even close. Look at 2014, 19,860 Palestinians were killed, 2,796 Israelis. This is not even a war. This is a massacre. Now, 2018, you had 31,000 Palestinians killed, 31,500 versus 130 Israelis. Now, this is just what the United Nations is reporting. We don't truly know the real numbers. But if you really want to do the research and look at who's really getting killed in here, it's women and children. It's innocent bystanders. Yeah, I'm sure there's some soldiers getting killed on both sides, but it's innocent people on both sides getting killed. Because you got two people fighting in a land that don't belong to them. But again, the media not going to show you this number. They're not going to show you these statistics. They want to show you, oh, you know, a bunch of Europeans getting shot up in the Middle East. Nah, that's not what's really going on. Yes, are people getting killed? Absolutely. Now, I checked on many of our people that are over there in the land, and they you know, praise YAH, they straight. I ain't seen no Israelites getting killed. You know what I'm saying? Now, I you know, I don't know the totality of all the deaths, but that's not what I'm really seeing. At least the ones that I, you know, the brothers that I'm corresponding with. So that's what's going on over there. So when you have that much of a difference in kills, what's really going on? So let's see what the international community is talking about here. And interesting enough, when they invaded the so-called group Hamas invaded Israel, this was on the Jubilee anniversary of the Yom Kippur War. So this was a war in 1973 between the Arabs and Israelis. And this was also called the Ramadan War, where they had their battle over the land, which, you know, further changed the border in Palestine and Israel, the territories. So when they invaded a couple days ago, this was on the 50-year anniversary. So that's personal. That ain't coincidental. This is something planned. And if your people are getting murdered at the rate that the Palestinians are getting murdered in their own land that they have been occupying for well, I won't say their own land, but the land that they've been occupying for hundreds of years, I can see how you have suicide people coming in, because those people, them soldiers coming in, you think they had an escape route? How are they going to get out? You think they were just going to get caught and just, you know, hang out? A lot of these soldiers is prepared to die, because if you're getting, I'm not even going to go into, let's read it. Let's see what the international world is talking about. So this is the European Union. This is what is his title? He's the High Representative for Foreign Affairs and Security Policy. All right, so he's the chairman of foreign policy, right? For the European Union Foreign Policy Commissioner. All right, so that's his name. Josep Borrell. He said on Tuesday, Israel has the right to defend, but it has to be done in accord with international humanitarian law. And some decisions are contra this international law. Borrell said in Oman, where he attended the joint meeting of foreign ministers from the EU and the Gulf Cooperation Council, both the EU and the GCC have condemned terrorist attacks by Hamas. And we don't, you know, I will support any kind of terrorist attacks at all. I don't care what side it's on. And the European Union and the GCC are saying the same thing. Look, we condemn the terrorist attacks by Hamas, Borrell noted, but also condemn any attacks on civilians, demanded the immediate release of all hostages, and called for Israel to respect international law and to not block the delivery of food, water, or electricity to the civilian population of Gaza. So this is what's going on. They shutting down Gaza, the citizens, the civilians, the mothers, the kids, the children. So now let's go back to this graphic. Now that graphic starting to make sense. When this many people are getting killed, which are going to by far be civilians, those kids are going to grow up whose parents were killed. Those young men who friends were killed. They're going to remember this. They're eventually going to be age of military, and you're going to have these type of conflicts. And when you have pushed and pushed and pushed and killed and slaughtered people, and you're not even from the region, yes, some people will give their lives to say you can't just keep getting away with this. So again, I'm saying all this and showing all this. Am I saying, hey, we getting ready to go back Palestine? No, I'm not saying that. Or hey, we back Israelis because they in our land? Absolutely not. All I'm saying is we have to look at the full and complete picture to understand what's going on. And now we're going to take what's really going on, and we're going to take that and we're going to now apply that to the Bible, where we have truth, where we have prophecy, so we can see what's truly going on. So again, let's get into our class. All right, so the title of our Bible study today is The Controversy in Zion. The Controversy in Zion. So I just wanted to share that information, just show a few stats of what's going on and what's happening internationally. All right, so first we're going to open up. Let's open up in First Chronicles. First Chronicles chapter 20. We're going to get a little bit of history, and we're going to look at, how long people have been trying to take our land. All right, so let's open up. We're going to go to First Chronicles chapter 20. First Chronicles chapter 20, and we're going to read verses 1 through 30. So Rashawn, Hayamim, chapter 20 and verse 1. All right. Oh, this can't be it. I must be in the wrong one. Hold on a second. Second Chronicles chapter 20, excuse me. Second Chronicles chapter 20, and we're going to read 1 through 30. Second Chronicles, Divri Hayamim, chapter 20, and we're going to read 1 through 30. And it came to pass after this also that the children of Moab and the children of Ammon, and with them other besides the Ammonites, came against Jehoshaphat to battle. Then there came some that told Jehoshaphat, saying, there come a great multitude against you from beyond the sea on this side, Syria, and behold, they be in Hazaz on Tamar, which is in Gedi. So this is Judah, and all our neighbors, our cousins, and all the people around us are surrounding us. Verse 3. And Jehoshaphat feared and set himself to seek Yahweh and proclaim the fast throughout all Yehudah. So this is what we do when we are in danger. We fast and we pray. That's something that we have to get back to. Verse 4. And Yahweh gathered themselves together to ask help of Yahweh. Even out all the cities of Yahweh, they came to seek Yahweh. And Jehoshaphat stood in the congregation of Yahweh and Jerusalem in the house of Yahweh before the new court and said, O Yahweh Elohim of our fathers, are not you all in heaven, and rules not you over all the kingdoms of the heathen? And in your hand is there not power and might, so that none is able to withstand you? So we can't forget that Yah is in control of everything. Yes, you think these people that are in our land, that are from the other nations, that they overpowered Yah? No, we did this to ourselves. Yah is in control of this. So we can't forget that. Verse 7, are you not our Elohim who did drive out the inhabitants of this land before your people Yasharah, and gives it to the seed of Abraham, your friend forever? So he did it the original time, he can do it again, and he will do it again. Verse 8, and they dwelt therein, they have built you a sanctuary therein for your name, saying, if when evil comes upon us as the sword, judgment, pestilence, famine, we stand before this house and in your presence, for your name is in this house, and cry unto you in our affliction, then will you hear and help. And now, behold, the children of Ammon and Moab and Mount Seir, the Edomites, right, whom you would not let Yasharal invade, when they came out of the land of Mizraim, but they turned from them and destroyed them not. Behold, I say, how they reward us to come to cast us out of your possession, which you have given us to inherit. So these nations, these same people, all in those lands right outside of the state of Israel, came to the door to kick us out of our possession. They saw that we were weakened. They knew we were ready to fall. Verse 12, our Elohim, will you not judge them? For we have no might against this great company that comes against us. Neither know we what to do, but our eyes are upon you. And all Yahweh stood before Yahweh with their little ones, their wives, and their children. And upon Yahaziel, the son of Zechariah, the son of Benaiah, the son of Yael, the son of Mattaniah, a Levite of the sons of Asaph, came the spirit of Yahweh in the midst of the congregation. And he said, hearken you all, Yahweh, and you inhabitants of Jerusalem, and you, King Jehoshaphat. Thus says Yahweh unto you, be not afraid nor dismayed by reason of this great multitude, for the battle is not yours, but YAH's. And often these battles that we are dealing with regarding the land and regarding us is YAH's battle. But now when we are being overtaken, that's typically because we did something wrong. Verse 16, tomorrow go you down against them. Behold, they come up the cliff of Ziz, and you shall find them at the end of the brook before the wilderness of Yeruel. You shall not need to fight in this battle. Set yourselves, stand you still, and see the salvation of Yahweh with you. And the salvation of Yahweh, Yahweh Shai, Yah's salvation. That's the same thing he told us when we was in the wilderness. Oh, Yahweh and Jerusalem, fear not, nor be dismayed. Tomorrow go out against them, for Yahweh will be with you. And this is what Yah is using of us. We are his vessel. We are his children. So a lot of times he just needs us to step up, just be available, be a vessel, and allow ourselves to be used by his spirit. But when these wars are going on in our land and we out of the land and we in punishment, that's Yah's battle. He got stuff going on. All right, so let's drop down a little bit. Let's just skip verse 24. When Yehuda came down toward the watchtower in the wilderness, they looked into the multitude, and behold, there were dead bodies fallen to the earth, and none escaped. So Yah took them out. Yah handled his business. It says, if you go to verse 23, for the children of Ammon and Moab stood up against the inhabitants of Mount Seir, utterly to slay and destroy them. And when they had made an end of the inhabitants of Seir, everyone helped to destroy another. So they're killing each other. So two of our enemies that are busy trying to come against us, Yah says, if a man's way is right with him, even he have peace with even his enemies. So he didn't have peace. He thought they were coming against him. But guess what ended up happening? They devoured themselves. Ammon and Moab, which is the Lot's children, the Shemites, they went against their cousin, the Edomites, Mount Seir, and destroyed them. So the children of Israel did not even have to fight. So while we worried about what's going on in the land, hey, worry about your people. Absolutely. We have the tents of Judah went into Israel first with Ben-Ami and all those people on the brothers that came from Chicago, a lot of them. That's Judah. It says the tents of Judah shall go up first so that the house of David does not magnify itself. So Judah went first. Yahweh, a lot of our brothers are there in the land right now, but they protected. This ain't about them. The enemies are fighting each other. All right, so let's move on. Let's go to Yeshayahu chapter 5. So you see how Yah deal with us when we in righteousness. Can't nobody mess with us. And when they try to come up against us, if they try to take counsel against us, it goes to nothing. They end up killing themselves. So how do we go from that to where strangers are in our land fighting over our land, talking about, oh, it's my land. How do we go there? YAH, Isaiah chapter 5. And we're going to see how we got to where we're at right now. How do we get to this situation? YAH chapter 5. And we're going to read 1 through 7. Now will I sing to my well-beloved a song of my beloved touching his vineyard. My well-beloved have a vineyard in a very fruitful hill, and he fenced it and gathered out the stones thereof and planted it with the choicest vine and built a tower in the midst of it and also made a winepress therein. And he looked that it should bring forth grapes, and it brought forth wild grapes. Those are poison berries. So the Most High built a vineyard, protected it, put a tower in there, and made a nice wine press. But when it's time for him to produce fruit, it's producing poison berries. Verse 3. And now, O inhabitants of Jerusalem and men of Yahweh, the judge, I pray you, between me and my vineyard. What could have been done more to my vineyard that I have not done in it? Wherefore, when I looked that it should bring forth grapes, brought forth wild grapes. So what more could Yah have done? He gave us prophets. He gave us the Holy Spirit. He gave us Mashiach. He gave us the bloodline. He gave us priests. He gave us teachers. He gave us miracles. He gave us the DNA. He gave us melanin. He gave us everything. Then every time we fell, he sent judges to save us. What more could he have done for us to produce fruitful grapes? Verse 5. And now I will tell you what I will do to my vineyard. I will take away the hedge thereof, and it shall be eaten up, and break down the wall thereof, and it shall be trodden down. So this is what happened to that vineyard that Yah planted. He said, all right, I'm gonna stop pretending. Let me step away from it. Because what's the good? Why I'm gonna put all this effort into it if it's gonna produce poison? Verse 6. And I will lay it to waste. It shall not be pruned, nor digged, but there shall come up briars and thorns. It will also command the clouds that they rain no rain upon it. Now, if you know anything about the climate of Israel, the state of Israel in the Middle East, it's very dry. Yah removed the rain. They have to pump in water. The water supply they're getting from the Dead Sea is almost dried up. And the Jordan River, the Jordan River almost dried up. Verse 7. For the vineyard of Yahweh of hosts is the house of Yasharal. So again, when Yah's giving these parables, he's talking about somebody. He's using the parables to get us to understand the perspective. So this vineyard that Yah planted is the house of Yasharal. And the men of Yehuda, his pleasant plant. And he looked for judgment, but behold, oppression, for righteousness, but behold, a cry. So he's expecting to see holiness in the Holy Land, and he saw wickedness. So this is what happened in Israel. So he's foreshadowing what's about to happen. He said, I'll tell you what I'm going to do to my vineyard in verse 5. I'm going to take away the hedge thereof, and it's going to be eaten up. I'm going to break down the wall, and it's going to be trodden down. And that is what's the state of Israel right now, the biblical Israel. Both the people and the place is being trodden down. Let's go to 2 Kings. Rishon Malachim. No, excuse me. Dibri Malachim, chapter 17. 2 Kings, chapter 17. So he's foreshadowing. He's telling you what's about to happen. All right. So let's start this at verse Start this at verse 6. Verse 6. In the 9th year of Hoshea, the king of Assyria, took Samaria and carried Yasharal, this is the northern tribes, away into Assyria, and placed them in Halah and in Habor by the river of Gozan, and in the cities of the Medes. For so it was that the children of Yasharal had sinned against Yahweh their Elohim, which had brought them up out of the land of Mizraim from under the hand of Pharaoh, king of Mizraim, and had feared other mighty ones. So we stopped fearing Yah and started fearing the gods of the land, which allowed them to get the riches of the land, all the idols. So again, where we supposed to produce a perfect praise to the Father, we producing poison berries. And he said what he was going to do. Verse 8, and walked in the statutes of the heathen, whom Yahweh cast out from before the children of Yasharal, and of the kings of Yasharal, which they had made. And the children of Yasharal did secretly those things that were not right. Let me fix this. Did secretly the things that were not right. Lost my spot. Here we go. That were not right against Yahweh their Elohim. And they built them high places in all the cities, from the tower of the watchman to the fenced city. And they set them up images and groves in every high hill and under every green tree. And there they burnt incense in all the high places, as did the heathen whom Yahweh carried away before them, and wrought wicked things to provoke Yahweh to anger. For they served idols, wherefore Yahweh had said unto them, you shall not do this thing. Yet Yahweh testified against Yasharal and against Yehudah by all the prophets and by all the seers, saying, turn you from all your evil ways, and keep my commandments and my statutes, according to all the law which I commanded your fathers, in which I sent to you by my servants the prophets. Notwithstanding, they would not hear, but hardened their necks, like to the necks of their fathers that did not believe in Yahweh their Elohim. And they rejected his statutes and his covenant that he made with their fathers, and his testimonies which he testified against them, and they followed vanity and became vain, and went after the heathen that were round about them, concerning whom Yahweh charged them that they should not do like them. So this is the same thing that we doing right now. But see, we doing this by ignorance, many of us. We didn't know, but we did this in the land and knew better. So if you're doing this in ignorance, and then you find out who you are and find out that this is what your forefathers did that caused you to be in this captivity, that caused you to be kicked out of land that strangers are fighting over right now, doesn't it make perfect sense to return back to the ways so you can return back to your land? All right. And they left all the commandments of Yahweh their Elohim and made them molten images, even 2 calves, and made a grove, and worshiped all the hosts of heaven and served Baal. And they caused their sons and their daughters to pass through the fire, and used divination and enchantments, and sold themselves to do evil in the sight of Yahweh to provoke them to anger. So therefore Yahweh was very angry with Yasharal and removed them out of his sight. There was none left but the tribe of Yehudah only. So Yahweh was the last one left after Assyrian captivity, right? And Yehudah had also Benjamin with him, and eventually the Levites came back. Verse 20, and Yahweh rejected all the seed of Yasharal and afflicted them and delivered them into the hand of spoilers until he had cast them out of his sight. For he rent Yasharal from the house of David, and they made Jeroboam the son of Nebat king, And Jeroboam drave Yasharal from following Yahweh and made them sin a great sin. So this is the northern kingdom. The northern kingdom turned completely away from the law. So this is why at the time of Mashiach, he wasn't really talking. The Yahudim, those that were in the southern kingdom, weren't really dealing with the Samaritans. They weren't dealing with the northerners that were still there. For the children of Yasharal walked in all the sins of Jeroboam, which he did, they departed not from them, until Yahweh removed Yasharal out of his sight. And he had said by all his servants the prophets, so was Yasharal carried away out of their own land unto Assyria this day. So as you read further down, you see that the nations, they started to move their people in. Verse 24, and the king of Assyria brought men from Babylon and from Cutha and from Ava and Hamath and Sepharvaim and placed them in the cities of Samaria instead of the children of Yasharal, and they possessed Samaria and dwelt in the cities thereof. So this is how the northern tribes became overrun with the heathen. Some of these same territories that they fighting over right now. That's how the heathen got in there. The people that were around just moved in. And then the Syrians moved in. Verse 25. And so it was at the beginning of the dwelling there that they feared not Yahweh. Therefore Yahweh sent lions among them, which slew some of them. Wherefore they spake to the king of Assyria, saying, the nations which you have removed and placed in the cities of Samaria know not the manner of all of the land. Therefore he hath sent lions among them, and behold, they slay them, because they know not the manner of the God of the land. Then the king of Assyria commanded, saying, carry there some of the priests whom you brought from there, and let them go and dwell there, and let them teach the manner of the God of the land. And one of the priests who they had carried away from Samaria came and dwelt in Bethel, and taught them how they should fear Yahweh. Howbeit, every nation made gods of their own, and put them in the houses of the high places which the Samaritans had made, every nation in their cities wherein they dwelt. So here it is. Jerusalem being overrun by heathens. Right here. This is where it's going down. And the men of Babylon made Succoth Benoth, and the men of Cuth made Nergal, and the men of Hamath made Ashima, and so forth and so on. I don't even want to read all these pagan gods. So they did all this, and they brought those priests in to teach them some of the manners. But if you forward down to the beginning, to the end, so these nations feared Yahweh and served their graven images, both their children and their children's children, as did their fathers, so do they unto this day. So even to this very same day, it's the same thing. They serving their gods, and they keeping a little bit of the law of the land so that the land don't completely destroy them. Let's go to Lamentations chapter 5. Lamentations chapter 5. So this is how the northern tribes got taken out. Now we're going to look at what's going to happen to Judah. Lamentations chapter 5 and verse 1. Remember, O Yahweh, what has come upon us. Consider and behold our approach. Our inheritance is turned to strangers, our houses to aliens. So at what point did we thought that this changed? This is what's going on in your land right now. Our inheritance, the land, the name of the children of Yasharal is turned to strangers, Europeans, the other Semites in the area that were not of the children of Israel. Our houses to aliens, people that are complete, not even from the region. Verse 3, we are orphans and fatherless. Our mothers are as widows. We have drunken our water for money. Our wood is sold unto us. Our necks are under persecution. We labor and have no rest. We have given the hand to the Egyptians and the Syrians to be satisfied with bread. Our fathers have sinned and are not, and we have borne their iniquities. Servants have ruled over us. There is none that does deliver us out of their hand. We got our bread with the peril of our lives because of the sword of the wilderness. Our skin was black like an oven because of the terrible famine. And when we fast for an extended period of time, we turn darker. Verse 11, they ravished the women in Zion and the maids in the cities of YAH. Princes are hanged up by their hand, and the faces of elders were not honored. They took the young men to grind, and the children fell under the wood. The elders have ceased from the gate, the young men from their music. The joy of our heart is ceased. Our dance is turned into mourning. The crown is fallen from our head. Woe unto us that we have sinned. So the royalty, the legacy, the blessing, all of this stuff fell from our head. Why? Because we have sinned. And what is sin? Transgression against the law. Whose law? Yah's law. Verse 17, for this our heart is faint, for these things our eyes are dim. Because of the mountain of Zion, which is desolate, the foxes walk upon it. So if you want to look at the symbolism here, the mountain of Zion is the government of Jerusalem. Has fallen, the king, the throne has fallen. It's desolate. The foxes walk upon it. That the foxes represent those wolves. Verse 19, you, O Yahweh, remains forever. And if you look at who the wolf was, that's the Romans. Verse 19, you, O Yahweh, remain forever, your throne from generation to generation. Wherefore do you forget us forever and forsake us so long time? Turn you unto us. Turn you unto us, O Yahweh, and we shall be turned. Renew our days as of old. But you have utterly rejected us. You are very mad against us. So this is now the southern tribe being destroyed. This is what happened. It happened because of us, because we have sinned. This is how you have strangers in Jerusalem. So let's move on. Let's go to Psalms 83. So in this destruction, you saw that the Syrians brought their people in. That's what took over the northern tribes, right? The northern kingdom of Israel. And then Babylon came and destroyed us. And now we're going to see what happened. The neighbors around us went into the land. And those are the people that are in our land right now. The neighbors that were around us and the wolves that came down in and occupied the land that we talked about at the beginning of the class. So let's go to Psalms 83, Tehillim, chapter 83. Psalms, Tehillim, chapter 83. And let me just tell you, I don't really want, this would be really depressing if I go into what really happened to us. If you really want to know the monstrosities that happened to the children of Israel, I really, and it's almost the Jewish people have their Holocaust and they have their Holocaust history and they have a whole museum and they talk about it and everything. We try to make a museum here in Atlanta for the Black Holocaust, the biblical Holocaust that happened to the children of Israel. And it was too harsh. People couldn't deal with it. They didn't want to look at what happened to us. But we couldn't even really fully show you because we're broke. We're poor people. We couldn't really show you what happened to us. But if you really want to know what happened to us, and I'm not talking about slavery, before that, when we were being destroyed as a people in the land of Israel, you definitely need to get the Antiquities of the Jews and read Flavius Josephus and read the sack of Jerusalem and hear what they did to us. Maccabees give you a little bit about what the Greeks did, but to really hear what they did to us, once you read this, it's hard for you to be sympathetic to people in our land getting just a fraction of what we went through, or people that were in their own land getting a fraction of what we got, trying to claim to be us in their own land in Europe. You had something?
It's something about the 400-year museum.
Mm-hmm.
The 400-year museum that most of you all missed. It was, just from the outside looking in as a spectator, just giving you guys, I saw the labor, the hot heat, the lack of air conditioning, and the zealousness and the spirit, the high spirit, in 2019, which was uh, pre-COVID, and just the way that the whole vibe was going that summer, and Elder worked really hard on the museum, and the images was, and the story, and what he was able to get out of it in that time that we had in that facility, and with the idea that that building could have potentially been made up of some of the wood of
From slave ships.
from the slave ships. I mean, it really was a great symbolism, and please check the YouTube and look at the video that we were able to produce to go and introduce you to the 400-year. But then the prophecies and the word that was explained and taught that year was one of the life-changing events for me as a study, as a believer in the ministry. And to see the fulfillment the year after, to see how the world changed was just amazing. So yeah, I would recommend you guys to go check that out.
I mean, it was almost like we had to publish it just so it could be published.
Mm-hmm.
And then everything was destroyed. The building's not even there no more.
Yeah, the building.
But it's just, it doesn't even touch. It just scratched the surface of what happened to us as a people, because it went from station to station, from each place on all 7 of our captivities, but to understand truly and get a real vision of how wicked they were to us and how familiar it looks right now when you see what's happening over there in Palestine and Israel. You got to go to Flavius Josephus.
One more thing, and I want to also add the fact that the love and the labor that went into it for that period, because see, sometimes Yah will pour out the spirit and give us these seasons to be able to accomplish things. And what I was very disappointed in was we did have a lot of, folks come out, family and people that were kindred to us. But I truly felt that it was very underrated. It should have been a tourist location. It should have been, captivated and taken in by our own nation as our jewel. Don't let these things come and go without you supporting. If you can supporting the nation and the works and the art and the ministries that we all produce. We're just a small fragment, right? Here in America, for us not to be able to magnify that. I just felt like it should have been, so I guess my biggest thing is saying support your nation. We can get online, we can study, we can share memes, we share quotes all day long, post all day long, but get out here and support the events, the ministries, the holy days, the congregating. We need to come together. That was truly missed. That was something that was really up there that we needed to see. And I don't know if that's going to happen again, so we can't,
right.
We got to be able to get out here and, stop being so separate and come together.
And that's a great point. And that's a great opening to what we're finna do in Psalms 83, about how everybody else came together to take us down. And what you're seeing happening right now in Palestine and Israel, you saw Israel just got invaded, and Israel got all the backing of the United Nations. They got they got the Iron Dome and all these different things. And it's almost like comical when they show you what's going on, where you'll see a tank rolling by and some kids throwing rocks at. That's literally Palestine versus Israel. They not really getting support. They getting some support from the Islamic countries, but those countries ain't equipped like United Nations, like the war machine. And a lot of those countries are corrupt. So, I feel for them, but at the end of the day, I feel for anybody getting killed and any lives being taken. But Yah's doing his things in the earth. And as we continue in this class, we're going to see what he's doing. And we're just establishing why. is he doing what he doing? And why did this happen to us? And we're going to get to why this is happening over there and why this is happening to them. Psalms 83 and verse 1. Keep you not silent, O YAH. Hold not your peace and be not still, O Elohim. For lo, your enemies make a tumult, and they that hate you have lifted up the head. And what the world does not understand, and they will, when they see that hairy face melanin man come from out the sky, looking just like us, that you have hated and destroyed the children of Israel, thinking that you just hate us, not knowing that you're hating the Most High. You only hate us because you hate the Most High. So you are literally the enemies of YAH if you hate the children of Israel. And it doesn't matter if you're an Israelite or you're a Goyim, a heathen, or a Gentile. It don't matter. If you hate the children of Israel, you're an enemy of YAH. Verse 3, they have taken crafty counsel against your people and consulted against your hidden ones. Why would we be hidden ones? Well, we just read. We got kicked out of our place, and now the world is trying to kill us, as it is to this day. So they had to take crafty counsel to try to cut us off. They said, verse 4, come and let us cut them off from being a nation. So there's several ways to do that. One, kick you out the land. You ain't a nation if you have no land, right? Number two, cut off your knowledge of your where you from. You're not a nation. Cut off your language. You're not a nation. Take your name from you. You're not a nation. And kill your men. Fagotize them. Turn them into little girls where they can't produce. Or put so much chemicals and poison in the system that heterosexual males can't even produce enough sperm. See, that's what's going on. And see, they wanted to kill us so bad, they end up hurting themselves where they can't reproduce. And our numbers are down, but you ain't going to stop the children of Israel from reproducing. We going to reproduce one way or another. But you are not reproducing all these nations that are coming against us. Verse 4, they said, come, let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name, the character of Yasharal may be no more in remembrance. They don't even want us remembered. That's why they got names like Palestine. Why is it called Palestine? Why is it not called Yasharal? But see, Yasharal went from Yasharal to Israel, to Israel, to Yisrael. All these different names to cut us off from being Yasharallah. They don't want us to know who we are, and they don't want us to know the character of Yah, which is his law, his righteousness, his holiness. They've replaced it with Christianity and Islam and Judaism. 3 religions. That's how they cut us off. Cut us where the name of Yasharal don't be in remembrance. Verse 5, for they have consulted together with one consent. What are they consenting to? Cutting off the children of Israel. They are confederate against who? You. Who's you? He ain't talking about Israel. We the physical one receiving it, but they confederate against Yah. And who he talking about? The same people that was lined up around us with the time of Jehoshaphat. When we didn't even have to fight, where he turned all these people against them. Them same people done got back together. The same ones that was killing each other have got together and said, okay, the children of Israel weak right now. They fallen, they on the run. Let's come together. Let's figure out how we can cut them off. And this ain't no one conference. This is conference after conference after conference. The most recent one was probably the Council of Nicaea, not the most recent one, one of the most major ones, where they decided our religion gonna be Christianity. So these are the people that did it. The tabernacles of Edom, Esau, the Ishmaelites, Moab, the Hagarenes, Gebal, Ammon, Amalek, the Philistines with the inhabitants of Tyre. This is Esau, the 12, this is the land of Canaan. Asher is joined with them. They have helped the children of Lot. Even our cousins, Semites, are turned against us. Do unto them as unto the Midianites, as to Sisera, as to Jabin at the brook of Kison, which perished at Endor. And he's saying, do unto them, because while we are fighting with what happened here with Sisera at Jabin, a heathen, YAH, a Midianite, a heathen woman, end up killing Sisera. So whereas you fighting with us, our enemies fighting with each other ain't gonna do the work for us. So that's what he's saying. Oh, they do, okay. They all want to line up. Well, do unto them like that. Which perished at Endor. They became as the dung of the earth. Make their nobles like Oreb and like Zeb, yea, all the princes of Zebah and Zemuna. So all these Edomites, they got cut off. Surely he said, I think, or was it Oreb? Surely the bitterness of war has cut this dude head off. You think they cut his 2 feet and toes off or something like that. Verse 12, excuse me. Who said, this is what they said. Verse 12, let us take to ourselves the houses of YAH in possession. Oh, my YAH, make them like a wheel as the stubble before the wind, as the fire burns a wood, as the flame sets the mountain on fire. So persecute them with the tempest and make them afraid with your storm. So they said, let's take the houses of YAH in their possession. The houses of YAH. Who's the house of YAH? The children of Israel. They took us into possession. Then when they took us into possession, then they came into the land and took the carnal houses, the little houses in the land. They took that. So this is what's going on. Crafty counsel. That crafty counsel is still going on. That's why they trying to lean everything towards Jerusalem and Israel, the state of Israel, like, woe is me. All right, so let's move on. Let's go to Romans chapter 11. Romans chapter 11. So all of this is bringing us into now, what's going on now. So let's get into what's going on now. Romans chapter 11. Romans chapter 11, and we're going to start that at verse 18.
These wars been going on for years, many decades, but for some reason, we can differentiate them with this word.
Right. See, the media will try to tell you like stuff like, oh yeah, we've been fighting in the land for thousands. No, you not. You just got there. You just got there in 48. There's still cars around that was here at the time that you got in the land. Man, get up out of here with that foolishness. We've been in the land fighting for thousands. No, you haven't, bruh. Sit down. Take your behind back over there to Europe where you from. That's why the people in the land, they like, look here, man. The people that live there, they don't belong there. But at least they from the area. Y'all from over there in the Caucasus Mountains. Go back over there. Romans chapter 11 and verse 18. And again, this is just facts. This ain't to hate nobody. This ain't to hate no ish people or hate none of that stuff. This is just a reality. And Bible says everybody gonna go back to their own land. So ish people, if everybody gonna go back to their own land, where you gonna go? You think you're gonna what, stay where you at? No, you're gonna be deported. And you're gonna go back to the same place that you tell everybody else that you came from before you got here. Russia, Poland, Ukraine, all those areas. And I was gonna go over it, but it was a little too lengthy. If you really go look up the history of the Khazars, that's Ukraine, Crimea, Kyiv, all them same areas. So the two wars is where all the Jewish people came from. Mm-hmm. The two big things they talking about right now is where the Zionism started. That's the Europeans that are decided, hey, we want to be the chosen people. Romans chapter 11 and verse 18. Now, you can't be the chosen people, but you can be amongst the chosen people. If you do the same thing that the chosen people was supposed to do, then you will get some of the same benefits. But you're not going to be the chosen people because you just want to be, especially by not doing what the chosen people were supposed to do. Verse 18, boast not against the branches, but if you boast, you bear not the root, but the root you. You will say, and you being the heathen or the Gentiles, you will say then, the branches were broken off that I might be grafted in. So it's all about you, huh? Verse 20. Well, because of unbelief, Israel, they were broken off. And you stand by faith. Be not high-minded, but fear. So humble yourself. The Most High got a place for you. He gave you a land. And he got a place for you to bring in your riches. Jerusalem, he got a place for you to bring it in, and you can bow down to the King of Kings. But you're not going to be high-minded over Yah's chosen. For if Yah spared not the natural branches, so he didn't spare us for being high-minded, what you think he going to do to you? Take heed, lest he also spare not you. Behold, therefore, the goodness and severity of Yah. And see, you want to come in our land, right? You want to live in our land. You want to claim you are people, right? Whether you want to claim it from a Judaism standpoint with Yah or Jehovah, I guess, whoever they call Yah, Hashem, or whether you want to do it with Allah. However you want to do it, you want to claim you the holy people, you want to be in the holy land, right? Well, guess what? You're going to get some of this goodness and severity. You got the goodness, you in the land, right? Well, now you're going to get some of that severity. Behold, therefore, the goodness and severity of Elohim on them which fell severity, but towards you goodness. If you continue in this goodness, otherwise you also shall be cut off. And they also, if they abide not still in unbelief, shall be grafted in. For Yah is able to graft them in again. For if you were cut out of the olive tree, which is wild by nature, and were grafted contrary to nature into a good olive tree, how much more shall these, which be the natural branches, be grafted into their own olive tree? For I would not, brethren, that you should be ignorant of this mystery, lest you should be wise in your own conceits, that blindness in part is happened to Yasharah until the fullness of the Gentiles be come in. That brings us to today. That is what we're seeing right now. We're seeing the fullness, which means the completion of the Gentile age. We talk about that, about the menorah, how each one represents Mashiach and represents the 7 holy days. And the holy days represent a biblical time period. Well, we're in the 4th biblical time period, which is we're in the 3rd biblical time period, which is Pentecost. So you have the first is your Passover, second is your unleavened bread. Your third is Pentecost. First fruits is the third, and then your fourth is Pentecost. So we're in the 4th. That's the age of the Gentile, because this is the time when the door was opened up to the rest of the nations to get closer unto Yah. So this is a period for them to get a chance to learn Yah. But it wasn't like what we read. It wasn't for you to boast yourselves against the children of Israel while they were getting whooped. It definitely wasn't for you to go move into their houses and claim to be them. So this is what we're looking at. The fullness of the Gentiles is coming. That's why we're seeing this going on in the land right now, is because the land is cleansing itself. Let's go to Luke chapter 21. Luke chapter 21. And get some more prophecy. Luke chapter 21, and we're going to read 15 through 24. So remember, this blindness happened to us, but in part. It happened in part because if one of us didn't know who we were, we wouldn't, none of us right now would know who we are. Because a little bit of remnant was left with an understanding, with some sight. It was passed on. to this very day so that we could start to wake each other up at the end of this Gentile rule. So now let's look more at this Gentile rule. Luke is 21, and we're going to read 15 through 24. Verse 15. For I will give you a mouth and wisdom, which all your adversaries shall not be able to gainsay nor resist. So what is our wisdom in front of the nations? What is our wisdom in front of the nations? Is anybody? Any of the viewers? What's our wisdom in front of the nations? Let's see if anybody can answer that. Tell us, what is our wisdom in the sight of the nations? Our wisdom in the sight of nations is what? He said, I will give you a mouth and wisdom, which all your adversaries shall not be able to gainsay nor resist. What can they not gainsay or nor resist? The word, the law. There you go. Brother Aaron Hicks, great job. Lucas Cool, the law, statutes, and commandments of Abba Yahuwah. Amen. That is our wisdom. They cannot gainsay it. They can't resist it. But see, we don't have it yet. We don't have it fully. We still learning. But once we have it and we can stand in it, we are untouchable. Verse 16, and you shall be betrayed both by parents and brethren and kinsfolks and friends. And some of you, they shall cause to be put to death. And you shall be hated of all men for my name's sake, or my character's sake. But there shall not a hair of your head perish. In your patience possess ye your soul. So all my brothers and sisters that are in Israel right now, that have fulfilled this prophecy of the tents of Judah going first and returning back to the land, that are facing all this stuff, our prayers are with you. You don't got to worry about nothing. It said not a hair of your head shall perish. If you keep both sides of this book, not a hair of your head will perish. In your patience, in your joyful continuance is what that patience means, is how you possess your body, your life. Verse 20, and when you shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies, then know that the desolation thereof is near. Now, that is what's going on right now. Jerusalem being compassed, but it ain't compassed all around yet. You have, like Job said, you know, I say things, yea, once, yea, twice, but man does not consider. Yah gives you a near prophecy and it gives you a far prophecy. He does things in duality. That's why Shana means couple, means dueling, means to a folding. It's twice, two witnesses. So yeah, it was compassed with armies in 70 AD, and it's coming again. And we're seeing it starting to warm up. It ain't compassed completely, but you see how the foundation is being set. Verse 21, then let them which are in Judea flee to the mountains, and let them which are in the midst of it depart out. And let not them that are in the countries enter therein too. For these be the days of vengeance, that all things are written may be fulfilled. So we read about some of these things that are being written, and we're going to read more about pertaining to the nations that's going to be fulfilled. Verse 23, but woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days. For there shall be great distress in the land, and wrath upon this people. And they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive into all nations. And Jerusalem shall be trodden down. Remember we read about the land will be, I will let my vineyard be trodden down. Interesting. This is Mashiach speaking now. He's fulfilling the word. He came in the volume of the book. He's fulfilling Isaiah. It says, Jerusalem shall be trodden down of what? Of the Gentiles. Till when? until the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled, until this Gentile age is finished. We are at the end of it. Any day, we're at the end of that rule. And at the end of that rule comes the next holy day, which is trumpets. Trumpets is us becoming a nation. We will return to the land and we'll be a nation. I'm not talking about some of us. We'll return as a nation, as a people of a land. So that's what's happening in Jerusalem. It's being trodden down by the Gentiles. It's not for us to stick our hands in it. The Israelites that are there, they're not there to intervene with Palestine and the Goyim that's over there. The Europeans, they there to prepare the way for Mashiach to return, for the children of Israel to return to the land. That's why we there. All right, so let's go to the conclusion. Let's go to YAH chapter 34, and let's see what's going on in that land right now. Remember, so that what verse 22, what we just read, so the things which are written may be fulfilled. So let's read some of the stuff that is written. YAH 34. We're just going to read 1 through 8 for the conclusion. Isaiah chapter 34 and 1 through 8. So again, they're going to be playing all these, if you can only give a penny or a quarter for the cost of a cup of coffee, you can help Israel. Nah, don't fall for it. Those people are fighting their war in our land, and it's casualties and wickedness going on both sides. But if you gonna have some sympathy, have sympathy for the one that's getting destroyed, not for the one that's doing the destroying. YAH chapter 34, and we're going to read 1 through 8. Come near, you nations, to hear and to hearken, you people. Let the earth hear and all that is therein, the world and all things that come forth out of it. For the indignation of Yahuwah is upon all nations. Remember, all these nations took this crafty counsel, right? Well, his indignation it said, let judgment start at the house of Israel first, right? Yeah, so it started with us.
Indignation,
wrath. So we got the wrath first. We got the severity first. Guess what, little bro, little sis, is coming your way. The other nations they Yah's children too. They just not the firstborn. For the indignation of Yahweh is upon all nations, and his fury upon all their armies. He has utterly destroyed them. He has delivered them to the slaughter. So it's already written. There's no way around it. Their slain also shall be cast out, and their stink shall come up out of their carcasses, and the mountains shall be melted with their blood. And all the hosts of heaven shall be dissolved, and the heaven shall be rolled together as a scroll, and all their hosts shall fall down, as the leaf falls off from the vine, and as the falling fig from the fig tree. So what this is talking about is talking about when the stars fall from the sky. This is covering a broad period, the final judgment in all the nations. For my sword shall be bathed in heaven. Behold, it shall come down upon Idumea, Esau, and upon the people of my curse to judgment. So, okay, it's upon Idumea and upon the people of the curse. The sword of Yahweh is filled with blood. It is made fat with fatness, and with the blood of lambs and goats, with the fat of the kidneys of rams. For Yahweh have a sacrifice in Basra. So he's talking about Isaiah 63, when Mashiach come back, and he run through Basra with his garments stained in blood. That ain't Israelites he's killing, brothers and sisters. And a great slaughter in the land of Idumea. And the unicorn shall come down with them, and the bull. I don't know, when I saw unicorns, the first thing I thought of was the rainbow. I don't know why. But anyways, and the unicorn shall come down with them, and the bullocks with the bulls, and their land shall be soaked with blood, and their dust made fat with fatness. For it is the day of Yahweh's vengeance and the year of recompense for the controversy of Zion. So again, the repayment is coming to all the nations. Hey, you don't pray for just Israel. Pray for Palestine, pray for America, pray for Europe, pray for Africa, pray for Germany, pray for all these nations. And you know what? Unfortunately, it says all nations. So I got to throw Russia in there too. Russia got to have done something. I can't pinpoint it. I don't know what they done did, but they obviously did something too, because it says all nations going to get dealt with. And many of those Russians, they the same people that migrated after World War II into the state of Israel. Belarus and all those areas, you know what I'm saying? All of them went down there. So again, this is what's going on. This is not our fight. It's not for you to lose a wink of sleep over. You want to pray for Israel, pray for your people. Pray for your people down there that's lost and confused, that's caught up in Judaism, that's sitting around there walking, looking like Ashkenaz, confused, fighting the war. Pray for the Israelites that went down there. They had to go into the military in order to stay. That's caught in the war, just like the slaves here in America that's fighting for this country, caught in the sauce. And now America talking about with this President Biden. I don't even know if he's still alive, to be honest with you. I don't even know what that is. But with that guy talking about how he gonna go in the land and he gonna start sending resources. All right. So how you think Iran gonna feel about that? And Russia and Syria, all these other countries you got beef with. So that's what's going on. So that's a brief history of Israel, the state of Israel, and what's going on in Palestine. And I hope that everybody will continue to see what's going on in the land and be easy. And again, now is the time for you to set your house in order. It says, where is it written that there will be peace in the land when my people return? All right, let's go to that. That's going to be, what is that? Jeremiah, I believe. Let's see. Let me look that up for you, brother, real quick. Jeremiah, where is it? I think what I want to say is Jeremiah 17. Hold on 1 second, bro. Let me see if I can find that for you. I could have sworn it was Jeremiah 17, but let's see. If anybody else finds it, go ahead and post the scripture. It's where it talks about YAH chapter 23. YAH chapter 23. Let's see where we're going to start. This is how you know those people aren't the children of Israel. They don't have no peace. YAH chapter 23 and verse 1. Woe unto the pastors, destroy and to scatter the sheep. No, let's go down to verse 4, and I will set up shepherds over them, which shall feed them. No, verse 3, and I will gather the remnant of my flock out of all the countries where I have driven them, and will bring them again to their folds, and they shall be fruitful and increase. So this is what the Ish people and the Ashkenaz trying to claim, like that's the fulfillment of that they coming back to the land from all their countries. These are the countries they come from, but they trying to claim that. And will set up shepherds over them, which shall feed them, and they shall fear no more, nor be dismayed, neither shall they be lacking, says Yahweh. Does that sound like the current state of Israelis living over there? I don't think so. Behold, the days come, says Yahweh, that I will raise unto David a righteous branch, and a king shall reign and prosper, and shall execute judgment and justice in the earth. Is the state of Israel, are they establishing judgment and justice in the earth? I don't think so. If you got the European Union trying to call them out for humanitarian violations, I doubt it. Right? In his days, Yehuda shall be saved, and Yasharal shall dwell safely, and this is his name whereby he shall be called, Yahweh, our righteousness. So that's it right there. When we return into the land, there shall be peace and justice in the earth, not just Israel, in the earth when we return to the land. So praise y'all. That was, I actually should have put that in the class. That was a great reference point right there, my brother. All right, praise y'all. All right, so that's all we're going to do today. Again, we are Savior Word of Yah, Tabernacles of the Congregation of Israel. O thy kingdom come. You can reach us on our website at saviorwordofyah.org. You can click on the donate button there to donate directly to our ministry account, or you can hit us up on our Cash App. You can email us at saviorwordatl@gmail.com. And Yah's will, we will see you this Sabbath for our Sabbath class with Elder Zahar. So until then, Yah be with you and yours. Shalom.